Hello, I am Leave Nelson B, musician for Lonely Ghost Records, and this is Tellin with Ellen. Here, we will go over recent Lonely Ghost releases, as well as those from affiliated artists, in a quest to get liner notes that you cannot get in a digital era. I hope you enjoy. Right away, because every time we do cold open. So, but yeah, I'm Nelson. The record is very, very, very good, man.
Oh, I appreciate that so much. It's like I have a hard time kind of like I usually play in other bands with my solo stuff. I don't really like promote it that much. So this is like my first time kind of doing that, and sometimes I don't really know how to necessarily, take it. But I really appreciate it. I definitely put a lot of work into it and want to keep making music. I just sometimes I always expect for people to be like, it's not that good, and I'd be like, oh, that's reasonable. You can make a case for why it's not good, I believe. So, but thank you.
Well, you say, but you've done other things. Like, what is your musical lineage up until leading up to? This is called the Great Pause, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what is the musical lineage leading up to the Great Pause?
Sure. Like right now, I play drums in Expert Timing. I don't know if you've heard of that band. They're from Orlando. We all live in Orlando.
Oh, I'm from Palm Bay, Florida. I was born.
Oh,
I was
okay, we're
I was born in Palm Bay. So yeah.
okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, yeah. So that's down like south, right? Or like Miami and stuff is.
No,
Am I
no,
thinking
that's
right?
Palm Beach. Palm Bay is
Okay.
just off of Melbourne, actually.
Oh, okay. So up on the other coast.
Yeah,
Okay. So
yeah, yeah. Right under the nose where Cape Canaveral
yeah.
and shit is. So yeah.
Have you had a chance to ever go to the fest in Gainesville?
No, I have not.
Oh yeah,
Oh, because
that's where like
that's where like Holy Bread performs and shit like that, right? Like
hmm
okay,
yeah, holy yeah, a lot of it's like where like if you're doing like kind of DIY kind of what bar punk, I guess that's like and that's where I kind of met a whole lot of people and stuff in the last like 5 years is going to fest in Gainesville and stuff. Um,
but yeah, you were saying
but
expert timing. From expert timing to
yeah, I'm 35, and I've basically lived in Florida since I was a teenager, and so I played in a lot of bands in Florida, um, for the past like what like 10, 15 years now. Um, and the give and take has always existed. Like if on my Bandcamp, I probably have like 8 or so albums on there. But it's just stuff that I've done like in my house and stuff just on the side in between like I played drums in bands, I played bass in bands, I played guitar, in bands. Just I just always love to play music and write music, um and the great pause kind of happened because of COVID, and Jeff and Katrina and I, we couldn't practice anymore. So since I couldn't play drums and stuff, I just kind of went back to writing my own songs again, and and that's kind of how this project kind of this was like my first album in the past like 5 years. Like 5 years ago, I released an album like another EP, and then yeah, 5 years till now, I finally got something together again, essentially.
yeah. I mean, COVID definitely boosted my productivity. If I released 3 records last year, and I'm doing a singles project this year. So like, and not to
Ugh.
mention I'm releasing a record next month that I wasn't expecting to release. Well, no, actually, I think we're releasing around the same time. I think my record here, I got to release in it because I'm May 27th. Actually,
Oh yeah, right. I guess the week right after mine. Mine's the 21st. Did you just get like a big inspiration of songs and just kind of got them recorded and knew you had another thing together?
well, it's a EP that samples an EP that came out in January, and I wasn't
Okay.
expecting to release it so soon after I finished. I literally finished it maybe like at this point, like maybe 10 days ago. and but yeah, basically like I finished it and turned it into the label, and they're like, great, let's release it. You know, because the
I,
band that I sampled from, because it's billed as a remix EP, that they want it out, you know, because as closest to the record as possible that came out in January to keep it in a public consciousness.
sure, sure,
So
sure.
yeah, that's but yeah, but last year, yeah, I did a lot of things. I released a record in January, which was a record that I really like, 2.0, and I released 3.0 and 3.x because I built my computer actually, because that's mainly what I do. I sample and I sample, maybe do some virtual instrumentation and stuff like that.
Okay.
I do not know how to play an instrument ever. I do this by brute force, you know.
Just
So
force of will, mind
yeah,
and will. I get you.
yeah. So you know, I am slowly learning the ukulele, but even then, I'm just like, 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 you know, figuring it out. I'm not really looking at chord structures and shit. I'm just not. I'm not that type of learner. Like I have to have my own system. But uh, but yeah, it's well, COVID's been very, very good for my music career actually, and like, and plus I work in medicine, so I wasn't really out of work at all. So like,
Wow. Oh,
yeah,
cool. Yeah.
if anything,
It,
like my retirement plan has went up like 10 grand in the last year, I think. So like, yeah, it's been actually pretty damn good for me.
there's this Game of Thrones quote that I've been using a lot, where he says, "Chaos is a ladder," and I just think about, if things are able to kind of get settled or back to where they are, I'll be interested to see the bands that still exist or are different, or we yeah, no one's ever had like what, a year and a half to be away from everyone.
Well,
Like,
yeah, and I think it's very telling when a lot of bands like definitely do not have like an online presence during this time because you kind of have to. Yeah, you had to before
yeah,
COVID, and definitely
yeah.
like during COVID, that's the time to like actually like lay down your foundation because like you're not gonna have a better opportunity to focus on music.
Honestly, that's why, like, before this, I hadn't considered that maybe I always thought that, oh, I would just be the drummer for this band, but then like once I wasn't playing an expert timing anymore, I would just fade into obscurity. But now I've been like, you can create your own platform for yourself, and then you won't ever need a band ever again. You can tour and do everything completely on your own. That's kind of been my goal, and getting to do more podcasts, just like you said, like trying to build a persona that's online, that's sustainable.
Oh yeah, I mean even just this podcast that I'm doing now, like this came out of sheer necessity. Me and my label CEO, Superdestroyer, who I've known since I was like 17 years old. Like yeah, we needed press for my last record,
Okay.
and this podcast came out of that came out of
Yeah,
that
what
need.
is the name Tellin with Ellen? How did that come about?
Ellen is a play on my artist name, Lee Nelson B, the first two initials. So Tellin with L and yeah.
Oh, okay, that's dope. Okay.
It's also a play on liner notes, Ellen. So like as we go through song by song, you know.
Oh man.
So yeah, basically the idea was like to have like a liner notes centered like because most of our stuff comes out digitally. We do a few
Yeah.
tape runs, but I don't necessarily do tapes. I don't think my music translates well to tapes, and I definitely cannot master for tape. But
Yeah, I'll be interested to hear how this is going to be on tape, and I'll be interested to hear how that sounds.
well, I mean, I'm glad you mentioned that you're a drummer because this is definitely like one of the best. Like this is definitely one of the most it's the drums are mixed in a not normal way, but it makes so much sense for this record. You know what I mean? It,
Thank you.
it definitely, and this is probably the with the record that most like the album cover most resembles the music. Like it is a perfect match, you
Oh
know.
my goodness. Thank you so
So,
much.
well, yeah,
This
I'm into it.
this rec oh, thank you, man. This record has really strengthened my relationship with my partner, Carissa, because that was her artistic direction.
Wow. Okay.
And just to see that she had such a great eye for capturing, as she put it, like she said, I've been listening to you play this for a whole year, you know. And she's been so great with this, yeah, the flower. I knew like I wanted it to be like really vintage because I was listening to a lot of like instrumental folk music, and I wanted like that to translate to there. But her just with the flowers and the Polaroids and it just started. Oh, yeah, just thinking of slide. I just my dad used to show pictures on slides and stuff, and it's like I want to, look like slides and old film and stuff. So I'm really appreciative to have had friends that have been into this and do other great things with it. It's been great. I love how everything looks too. Thank you so much. I think yeah.
Yeah, this probably has to be like the most well done folk record I've heard since like the last like, well, not the last one. I think the last one was like a Christmas album, She and Him record. But yeah, yeah, like this probably back to that, and especially the Epidemics record, the Great Pod. That is an awesome ass song. You know, it really is. Like the crescendo moments in that record is just superb. You
Oh
know,
my goodness, thank you.
you know.
Oh
But,
wow.
but yeah, well, let's go through song by song and
I'm
how exactly you got this done.
yeah, yeah, I'm into it. I'm an open book.
So the intro track, 9 to 5. Like, why was this? What's the meaning of the numbers?
Yeah. Nine to five. It's just a play on working nine to five. And I've always kind of just wrote those numbers. Nine to five is like a real simple when I would put it on a set. That song is man 5, 6, 8 years old. It's a old. It's been around. I've tooled with it for a while, and I wrote it. Um, I wrote it when I had to move back in with my parents after having like lived on my own for the past like 8 years, and so I had to like move back home, and it was really hard kind of adjusting to I had to find. It's not that I ever thought music would be my career, but I guess I had thought that I could just play music and have small side jobs, and that wouldn't ever be a problem. But now I needed to focus on having a job, having a career, having responsibilities, and that song is all initially was just about reflecting on how much I miss being back when I was young and carefree. And then I kind of rewrote some of I actually added like two little parts at the end, or at the end of each verse that kind of reflects back on it. So it's um, like in the second verse, it's like what back in the days when I thought Jesus was it, but I'm smart enough to call him what he is, and I came up with the line like when I was younger, I thought I was never mean. I thought my heart was pure, and I thought my soul was clean because it's it's like you were naive back then, and and you need to recognize that having responsibilities isn't a bad thing, isn't something to shrug off. So I didn't want to like replay the song with that same mentality that I don't want to have responsibilities. I kind of wanted to approach it that I'm trying to embrace more having that, but I still haven't quite found the place where I want to be at yet too.
How was it like sitting on a song for that long? Because I remember 8 years ago myself. I also moved back with my parents after but I was in the Air Force in my early to mid 20s, and after like just after I decided not to continue that anymore.
Oh wow.
I moved back to my parents and got a job at a car dealership, literally working like 9 to 5. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
how's it like to like sit on those feelings for that long? I have like a song that's like a year and some change old now, and I'm like hating sitting on it right now.
Yeah, I'm of the mindset that a song is never complete, almost, I guess. That you can take any song and rework it and retool it as much as you want. And like, I love when the band will redo an old song on a later record, and you can kind of tell how the musicianship has like changed or something. Or if you're really into lyrics and they do a lyric rewrite, it's cool to kind of see how their sensibilities about it have changed. And so um, I also feel like, why limit yourself if you have an idea that you like and it didn't necessarily translate years ago, but you can find a way to translate it now. There's nothing saying that you can't do that. I plan on first releasing a B-sides album that has like all my recordings that I just had over the past 5 years and hadn't released, and then I'll probably rework some of them from my live set. So I have a couple new songs and a couple old songs. But if there's like parts of the songs that I think could be better, or I think are a little cringy because of my perspective have changed, I don't think there's anything wrong with rewriting it and retooling with it.
There's two things that explanation makes me think of, and that is Pearl Jam had a song called "Alone" that was written back in the 10 era, like their debut album, which to me is like
Okay.
one of the best debut albums of all time. Is like Pearl Jam's 10. I think the only one I can beat it is like Boston's Boston, which every song was like a hit on that record. But but yeah, they had a song called "Alone" that's from the 10 era, and they performed that song like at their first live show. It never came out on a record until more than 10 years later. Like I think it was like
Yeah.
2005 before that song actually came out on a record. It was on a B-sides record, and Radiohead had "True Love Waits," and
Okay.
that song's from the Kid A era. It is probably the saddest Radiohead song, but it ended up being the last song on their last record, Moonshaped Pool. Like they had that song for so long, and they finally released it in a form that is like not recognizable if you heard it in a Kid A, because they did perform that live. They did perform it live all the time. Like
Yeah.
you hear it.
There's like a attitude that I've seen in bands where they'll kind of go, the record that we're working on now is the best thing we've ever done. And then it takes the old records we did are now not as good. And I've never really thought of it. Like, of course, you're always trying to top yourself, but it's like the Marvel movies. Like every record is a part of your story, and if you want to tell a cohesive story, you need to reference those things. You build a lore. A lot of people love bands where they repeat words or lyrics, and they mean certain things, and they're, I know like Coheed and Cambria can be that way. And I've heard Dance Gavin Dance is that way. They have a lot of like the strawberry or something in their songs always mean something. So I've always thought that was really cool, don't always just look forward, like look at 360,
Yeah,
at all times. Yeah.
it's cool when bands do that without being meta about it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. You can't get too self-important or pretentious about
yeah,
it.
yeah. Like I think Nine Inch Nails case that line kind of with the "Nothing Can Stop Me Now" line. I think they've had that line in most of their records.
Okay.
You know,
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. And what made you choose this as the opener for this?
We actually debated on it, and I was of the mind, I was like, listen, if someone can give me a good reason to cut this song, I'll do it. Like, so there was a time when that
I
it
dare
might
you.
not have. Yeah.
Give me a reason.
Yeah, I mean, I always worry. I don't know, like I like talk about, I have a bong in that song. So I was like, I don't know, maybe some of these, I was definitely worried that some people would hear it and just be like, this is like lame, or corny or something. So I'm really happy that the response has been good. It's I've opened up my sets with it a lot too, because it's just upbeat and easy to play and quick and fun and real concise. There's actually a second ending to that song that I just never did. I kind of wish I had, because sometimes I do that live where I kind of do an extended thing on it. But I'm happy. I feel like, because I've gotten a good response so far, and the record isn't it comes out on the 21st, so the people who have got to hear it, like it's been like, oh no, it's a really catchy, good first song. So I'm glad it kind of just kicks you off, that we're gonna get something. And I like that it's a little short. I like first songs to be kind of short, kind of push you into the record. And then like some records, like they'll start you off with like the 6-minute first song, and it's like, ooh, yeah, making me work to get.
Yeah, I just recently did a podcast of emo trash, and we talked about Tyler the Creator's Goblin. They came with me with, okay, what do you want to talk about? Yeah, can we talk about Tyler the Creator's Goblin? And that intro track was like 6-7 minutes, I believe.
Yeah, some of the a lot of hip hop albums can really do that, right? They really like hit you with like a dense first song, because it's very, I get that it can be very cerebral, to do that.
Yeah, I think Lil Wayne has done it a couple times where he's like had it kicked off, like, and it's not even like it's because like Tyler the Creator's Goblin, that's like a concept record that has like a whole mythos around that,
Yeah,
and that really puts you in the mind space of that record, and plus I don't understand how hip hop can get away with it, but nobody else really can, because it's like the most wordy. Like you have to say a lot in those, in those records.
I mean, I love the idea that if I had a whole opus that I was writing, like Goblin, when this thing is fully conceptual. It is cinematic in the way it's going to be. I'm into like, yes, well then you need to have an intro and an outro and a prologue, like just really, if you want to go for it and make this record something that is an experience, like I say, yeah, go 11%, 11 out of 10, like 110% with it. Like,
yeah, I mean, even when I was younger, my songs used to be longer, and now I revel in getting stuff done in under 2 minutes.
Yeah, actually the same. My dad used to say, he was like, every time, you can never repeat anything. Your ear always has to have something new. So I took that as, I'll never play the same chords. So I would write 4 or 5 minute songs with 2 bridges, and all that kind of stuff. And like that was kind of my little bit nervousness about 9 to 5, because it's just verse, chorus, verse. There's no bridge in it. It's just verse, chorus, and then it ends, So.
Yeah, and I think because I've been told that, like, you always got to give the listener something new, and I'm like, I always just try to give a journey, not necessarily like try to throw something new, because I don't know, I think at the end of the day, music is, as long as it sounds dope, it's good, to you,
Oh yeah.
Because there's so many rules that musicians go by, that, and when you have something as creative as music, like, it literally, the formula is different for every person, what works and what doesn't work,
and you never, honestly, like, you never really know what people are gonna like, like the song that you may think is the worst song is someone's favorite.
I am totally terrible at guessing which song's gonna hit on my records. I am.
Right.
Yeah.
You're picking a single, right?
Yeah. Like, oh no, this one's gonna go. This one's good. This is the shit. Nope.
No. We have this joke in Expert Timing that, because like one of the things we always try to do is like break things up, so it's not like always linear. And we were like, we probably put in so much work to write nonlinear songs that I bet you if we wrote one just regular song, we'd hate it, but it would be like the song that just carries us over the top. Yeah.
Sitting there on stage, like, yep, we got to perform this one now because
Yeah, right. It's
we're
basically a
losing
rip off of Third Eye Blind, but it's your favorite song.
yeah, we're losing the crowd. Gotta pull out the pull out those songs now.
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know if you watch the Marvel movies and stuff, but I feel like they had to release Infinity War so that way they could do Captain and Falcon and the Winter Soldier that they're doing right now. You know, they're doing some really cool, heady shit that, you know, they couldn't have done if they hadn't give you a lot of popcorn and candy beforehand, you know.
Oh yeah, they definitely primed the audience for that, you know. And there's
Prime, good word.
there is a finite amount of Avengers movies that we could have gone to. Right, there is definitely a finite amount of that story that we could have.
Yes, I mean, it's gonna get really silly really fast. I know it. I know. I hear they're gonna have like Tobey Maguire and like all the other Spider-Man. So I feel like that's when they're just gonna jump the shark. But I'm waiting for it.
Oh man, that's gonna be weird.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh. Whatever. Do it. Do it. Make everything's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Where in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
So the thing I find odd, like with Isolate and definitely with Great Pause and Blood and Influenza, like we'll get into Isolate, but so how do you approach drum work on this record? Because it seems like they're behind the record, but in front of the record at the same time, and it's like especially
Yeah.
in Isolate, like what was your whole approach with Isolate anyway?
Oh, so we want to talk about Isolate or drums, so that we can go either way.
Well, we'll get more into the drums, I guess, after a great pause. I think that's like the best
Okay.
example of what I'm talking about.
Oh wow, cool. Thanks. Well, so Isolate is another one. Like Settled and Great Pause are like the two brand like I completely conceptualized. Isolate was a song that I had, and it was called like Sometimes, and I was gonna retire the song, but I played it at a live show, and I didn't even have lyrics for it. I just made up like lyrics, you know. And someone actually came to me and was like, "That was my favorite song. That like Sometimes song. That was my favorite song." And I was like, "Damn, if that's someone's favorite song, that's worth, you know,
Like
keeping around."
I freestyled that on stage, but
Yeah, you know what I'm
you're never
saying?
gonna
Like,
hear that
yeah.
ever again.
You know, whatever version that was, yeah, I don't know what the hell that it was something. It was kind of a test too, an experiment just to see, does it matter? Could I just say words and you know, I mean, it worked. So, but I really struggled trying to concept what that song was going to be about because the melody was already so, you know, was already there. So it was like, I have a melody that I don't want to change. I just have to find what words fit, you know, what is trying to convey, you know, something. And finally, because it was just all about, you know, like, you know, sometimes it was like, I keep trying to say that I'm sorry about not being the person that you expect of me, essentially. And I'm like, how do I do that? And I kind of would think about how a lot of times in a conversation when I'm not feeling comfortable, when I feel, you know, feelings of guilt or whatever, I clam up, you know, I isolate essentially, you know. And when I'm doing that though, that's kind of how I'm processing, you know, what's going on. That's what that line is like, my mind's beyond the sea, manifesting this vision before me. It's like my mind is just thinking about everything right now, and it's trying to come up with what it is I want to do and what it is I want to say instead of just saying the first thing, you know. So that's kind of what that song is about, is about kind of appreciating that it's okay to close yourself off a little bit, and you don't have to always live up to what everyone's wants and expectations of you are. Yeah,
Well,
literally.
I think Isolate pretty much like iron in that this is a very healing record. You know what I mean? At
Yeah.
least for my ears, it sounds like medicine that I needed. You know?
Oh, thank you. Well, the whole great pause came from talking to my mom, and that's what she called the this COVID thing. She was like, it's like a great, like the whole nation has had to pause. And I was like, wow, imagine the stillness of a pause. That's kind of what, yeah, just like, and that's why I was like, the melodies and the guitar work, I just wanted to, thank you so much. I want it to be just really beautiful and something that you can kind of breathe and rest in. And honestly, when I write lyrics as a whole, I don't always have like something exactly I want to say. So a lot of this I think has been just, oh wow, these songs I've happened to pick have been about introspection, and I think we are all going through our introspection, through ourselves.
Yeah, because this record is not like it's like this is the home cooked meal. You know what I mean? That's how I. That's like this is like biscuits at your mom's house type of record. You know, like yeah, that's how I classify it. You know,
well, thank you. Every song is a demo actually that I did on my phone and without headphones. I would just sit in the room and just play the song, and then I would layer on top of that demo, like I would put the actual mic up and mic my guitar. I went over to like Jeff's house and mic'd and did drums and stuff like that. But I wanted to keep the demo, and I just, because when I listen back to I do a lot of voice memo recordings on my phone, and I just loved like hearing my dog in the background, hearing Carissa, just the sounds of, like you said, like you're at home, like you're real, you're there in the room. So I was very much into if keeping the first takes, keeping that thing, and just trying to make that as palatable as possible, but keeping that raw idea there.
okay. Yeah, I definitely get that. Like, especially if your first take is good, then keep it. You know,
Right, it's the most
people.
genuine.
Yeah, some people get like, oh, you have demoitis or something like that. Like, no, like if the first thing is good, and then keep it. Like that's how I feel. But like when
There,
what?
there,
Oh, no, go ahead.
no, please keep going. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, because
I
I
was
was
gonna
gonna
say,
move on to settled. But yeah, go ahead and say what you gotta say.
well, it's just there are some song performances that is like the best. I know for me, there's like that's the best. I wish I could just recreate whatever I just did there. That's what I wish I could just recreate perfectly into a metronome.
Yeah, I definitely feel that one. So, when I do records, I have what are called pillars, right? Like that's when I know what this particular record is what this album is going to be, what it's going to sound like. What it's going to, what this should feel like when I'm completing it. If the song doesn't feel like these pillars when I'm done with it, I need to move on to something else. And I
Oh,
think
cool.
for me, settled is one of those pillars of this record. You know, for me personally. Um, granted, I sat with the record for like 2 days, so
Wow, thank you so much. Wow.
yeah.
I hope other people listen to it and enjoy it. That makes me feel so good. Thank you so much. It means a whole lot.
Well, yeah, you mentioned before that settled is like in a family of songs with a great pause.
Yeah, yeah. Man, yeah, that one was completely conceptualized during this period, and I was listening to just so much Owen, and I was just I love his style. I want to emulate that, this like folky, playing the lead line at the same time, and so Settled was a full instrumental before I did anything to it. I wanted it to just be something that I could like sit on a porch and play. And then the Settled concept came from a demo where I sang it for the first time, and that's what came out of my mouth was, I wanna be settled. And then I just kind of thought about what that meant, and kind of just came up with this whole, another true life concept about, you spend so much time working to want to be settled. Essentially, you don't have financial worries. Not that I want to say that the mystery of life is taking away, but that, I have consistency. I know what I'm going to be doing in a month, in a week, in a year. And thinking, because I'm 35, I imagine when my parents were my age, that maybe they were settled. I'm sure they would say they weren't. But I'd like to think they were, because I mean, I know I was born and I was living in a home and, in a house and not an apartment and stuff. And so I think the line that really kind of, like you said, a pillar of that song is struggling every day, watching your sandcastles, melt away. It's just, you build it up, and then in a year, you look back in a year or two, it's gone. It's not what it was. And also, I think even relating to kind of what happened with COVID for all of us, I think all of us kind of saw a lot of our sandcastles, and they could get melted away, or they just changed. It's just different. And it's okay. I don't know if it's, but it's okay to long for that, but that's what that song is, for better or worse. It's just longing for consistency. It's longing to know that the things that you work towards are going to stay there and not disappear, essentially.
Yeah, I think it's important to actually give voice to sometimes as a musician, you have to work backwards from instinct. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even just I want to be settled. You have to work backwards from, okay, what does that actually mean to me? Because instinctively it came to me, and it came to me for a reason.
I've attributed, songs, instead of songs are things that you build, songs are things that you find and excavate. Like the song exists, and it's your job to carefully, like a fossil, dig it out. And if you do it too hard, if you do it too fast, you can break the song, you can lose it, but if you take care and you really take time, then you can make it, you dig it out and you see the beautiful animal that it wanted to be. And my heart said settled, and I guess that's where it had to go.
When I do songs, I visualize a bowl of ice cream with all the accoutrements on, and it for me, the sample would be the bowl, the foundation in which the song is, or maybe a chord structure, or or phrasing, something like that. That it's always, melody always comes first for me,
Right.
and that's the bowl, and the ice cream will be the drums, and would be the drums, and some of the travel bass lines and stuff and all the other stuff is just you need melody, you need drums. Those are, in order to have a bowl of ice cream, you need to have those two things.
Yes,
if you want to make it better, you get the sprinkles and shit, you get the syrup, the
you can put toppings. You can get into how you want to place where the ice, so it looks really aesthetically nice. I get you. There's all kinds. I actually make ice cream part-time now as my job, so you picked a great metaphor.
And that's how I look at building songs, is building a bowl of ice cream.
Sometimes you can put way too much scoops and it's way too sweet and it makes you sick.
Yeah. Blood and Influenza. Probably my favorite song title on this sound.
I always would call it Glass Box, but Blood and Influenza is more true to the song.
Yeah, I mean,
'Cause
you do you have like a working title, and then you like change it once it's time to release it? Because that's exactly
yo,
what you did.
oh yeah, and I've always been one of those fans who's like, you could the title doesn't have to do anything with the song at all if you don't want. It can just be my friend Gary goes to church on Sundays, and that's the title. Like
On
you
my
know.
record releasing next month, I have a song titled "I Brought the Cool Ranch Doritos." I hate Cool Ranch Doritos.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
I
but
I'm trying to write country songs, believe it or not, but what I want to do is I want to give them like really like edgy titles. Like one of them is like Pearl Clutching Racist would be like the title of one of my country songs, and stuff like that.
oh man, yeah, blood of influenza. Yeah. So how did you land on that one?
Oh yeah, that one is an old song, and it is about a pill addiction,
Okay.
and about the way you medicate yourself to numb yourself. And I remember when I was having my own personal issues with it. That's I used to describe it like I am in a glass box. You know, like if I am, have a Xanax or something, I can be around you, but it feels like there's a complete barrier between me. And I thought of glass box in the sense that it's like soundproof. Like I could yell in this glass box, but no one could hear me. And then when you're going through withdrawal, you're really sick. So and that is literally what you taste is just the blood in your mouth and the feeling of being sick. You know, whilst you're screaming out for help and no one can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real dark song.
And
But
the lack of like perceived understanding that you feel too from other people. you know.
I
So,
think a lot of people, whether you have an addiction or not, I think the idea that you feel like you are yelling and screaming and nobody is listening or can hear you, I think is pretty common to a lot of people.
well, suffering is a very isolating experience too. Like,
Yes, yes, yeah, that's a great way of putting it. Yes, it does make you feel very isolated.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it's a very lonely time for a lot of people. So,
yeah, it's a song I'll always play. It's a reminder to me. I hope it is impactful for other people. It's a very real, very visceral song that you know I've had for a lot of for that song is this was before I moved back home, so this song is you know 10 plus years old. Um, but I've never had a chance to really like record it. So I was like, okay, I'll do that one for sure.
this presentation of it is very damn good. Um,
Well, yeah, thank you. That was that. Yeah, that was me sitting down. You can hear me just playing that song, finger style in a chair, no metronome. And I remember Jeff being like, "Do you want to redo that guitar?" And I was like, "No, I think that's as authentic as it will be." And I was really nervous because I was going to play drums to it, I was going to play bass to it, and it wasn't to a metronome. I didn't know if I could hit it everything on time. So I'm glad that it was able to come together.
Oh, and it definitely leads to the healing aspect of this record too. Like to have that kind of like rawness of it.
Yeah.
Raw is not a good word. But the honesty of it, I guess, is what I'm going for. But yeah, that is like yeah, it gets into the healing nature of this record, and I hope you don't open any shows with this.
I know, right? It's like, all right, guys, we've had a
Yeah.
really good time. I'll close all the shows with it. I'll just let me leave you with that.
Don't even take the crowd. Just play the last
Yeah.
strum the one last time and just walk away. No merch
I
table,
tell you,
nothing.
I wish so much that I could be not necessarily be less honest, but I just like I admire like songs that are cool, people who can like come up with like cool things to say in like really cool ways. And like that is like if I could trade like all the honesty for just being able to write like, you know, one liners, like, call me later, but not, I don't know. I can't think. I'm so bad at it, but but no, yeah. Not instead of clever phrases, I just have to. I write just really disgustingly honest songs.
Yeah, now the great pause, which is my favorite like drum performance of this record.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
and it's not necessarily all throughout the record too. This has some really quiet sections, and it actually reminds me of a record that I've actually been working on. That will probably come out sometime next year. But
I'd be honored if you ever wanted to do a remix of any of my songs. That would blow me away.
oh, good because you're on Knife Punch, right?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Yeah, I did propose to Danny to do a remix record for Knife Punch. So if you're
Oh,
down, if you're
oh
down,
man,
yeah,
absolutely. And
tell them to use their I can use their record.
oh, I like centered on Knife Punch like right away. Was really nervous as to whether or not they would be able to work with me. I love what they're doing. I think like all their artists are so cool, and for them to release this folk record of mine, it just makes me feel so honored, and I hope I get to stay with them and be their folk artist, amongst all the other cool weird shit that they release.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised I get to be the whatever I am on Lonely Ghost. But yeah, if this record landed on anybody's doorstep, you have no choice but to release it.
Oh,
At least
thank
from
you.
where I'm sitting. Like yeah, this is really great. So the great pause, like it's the you explain what your actual name meant. I'm assuming this was
Yeah.
conceptualized within the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, what's crazy about it is I didn't really know what that song was about until my friend told me what that song was about after I'd written the lyrics and stuff. I just that one was 100%. I was like, I'm gonna commit to just free form. I'm gonna listen back to this demo, and the whatever gibberish I said, I'm gonna write that down and I'm gonna see what it says. And basically, it was just about how seasons change and time keeps going on, and you don't really know or feel the direction of like any of it. And when my friend Kyle was like, "Yeah, it's just about you feeling time passing and not feeling time pass," is like that's what this whole year has been. It's crazy to feel like it's been a whole year, but you don't feel like it's been you haven't, it's just so different. Um, and so I knew like, I didn't know oh, it was called Traveling. That was the original title, it was Traveling. Cause I was like, this is like a traveling song. um, but I think in the end it became, yeah, completely indicative of what the whole record, the whole EP was, which was this great pause, this feeling of a great pause. And that song, I was like, yeah, I don't mind letting it go long and letting it breathe and just trying to be as beautiful and layered with it as possible.
Yeah, because there's definitely a tension build up and release, like on this record. And what led to like the crescendo moments like on this because for like everything is like put together so well.
Oh, thank you so much. Honestly, you'd be surprised how accidental it really all was. It was just straight. Started off as a straight instrumental on my acoustic guitar, just wanting to play it as pretty as possible. And then yeah, the drum like the drums just. By the way, all the drums I did on that record is one take, and me never having played drums to them before. It was like this is my day to do drums, and whatever I can think of to do, I'm gonna do it. And so that's kind of how that, and I love the ending with, where it's just like that, I just was like, yes, just riding that kind of, that kind of groove in there. Like, honestly, I wish I had played it longer, like end longer and kind of extended it a little longer. It was supposed just to fade out, but we just left it not fading out. So you could just really hear it all kind of taper off. And all like the chimes and the piano stuff was me messing with an arpeggiator for the first time. But I just was like, man, it makes it sound so ethereal and so pretty. And I was worried that it wouldn't really translate because that's using like the iPhone GarageBand app. Like there's not, it's just my finger on the screen, just kind of moving the sounds and moving the keys. But I love the response people have given to it, and honestly, I will try to include a song like that on every record I ever do. Just something that's supposed to just make you live in this moment for a little while.
It's definitely the most welcoming song of the record. Like this is like, come on, like sit down for a little bit, type of record. And yeah, it's 5 minutes long, but it doesn't feel like it,
Oh
like,
yeah.
I
Yeah, I could have done 6 or 7, I bet, if I'd given
oh
myself.
definitely this could have been like this could have been an 8-minute opus, like
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I was worried that when it comes in, that tom thing was kind of hard and interesting because yeah, there's no like straight snare thing in there, and I was really worried how that was gonna translate. Cause this was like I wanted to sound like the soundtrack to Into the Wild, or it's just boom, 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 just like it's the Lion King or something,
yeah,
it's just real.
like Stomp, the
Yeah,
Broadway, yeah.
yes, yes, yeah.
Hey, you mentioned before
Trash
that
can.
you're 35. I'm 33 myself,
Okay.
and like I think I've been messing around with like the idea of doing music since I was like a freshman in high school. That's when I first got my first DAW and
Yeah.
and made something that I liked and like posted on MySpace Music way back in the fucking day. But
Pure volume.
well, but at some point, like when you keep on doing it, like if you keep on doing it and practicing and just keep on like at some point instinct does take over. So like you know as far as like this record goes, like this definitely sounds very intentional or instinctual, you know, and that comes
Thank
with
you.
you doing it for a while. Like your musical instincts are so ingrained. It may feel like an accident, and I don't and like
Yeah, yeah.
I don't feel like these things are accidents, and especially this whole like this because these are 6 very strong songs. Like
Ugh.
these are 6 very strong songs, and I think I'm actually liking the idea of like finishing out. Well, I do have another LP in me, but I need to do more EPs with like more dense, strong material. You know, but
Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe, I hope my next one can do that again. Maybe the next one will just be like, just not as strong. I don't know.
I
Because
mean,
you
I
just don't
don't know. A
know.
lot
You
can
just don't
happen if
know
you wait
until you
5 years.
do it. Touche. Yeah, right. It only took me 5 years to write 6 songs.
But yeah, especially you touched on GarageBand. My whole first EP is done in GarageBand. Like
Oh, cool,
it
cool.
may have been mixed in other places because like GarageBand doesn't have like the plugins that you know.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
think half of it was in Cubase and the other half was in Pro Tools. Back when I went
Okay.
to back when I went to a college, that the press like my professor was like, "Hey, yeah, bring in your tracks," and I'm like, "Okay." It makes half my
An
EP in Pro Tools.
opportunity is an opportunity. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so and
I
yeah,
remember Cubase. I used Cubase when I was in college.
I can't use Cubase anymore. Like that whole software e licenser BS that they still do. is just a
Oh
pain.
yes, I still have that USB drive somewhere.
Oh
Like you lose
God.
that USB drive, dude, you've lost the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh God, man. They still do that, but virtually. And virtually it is more
Uh,
of a pain.
you have to have some e-registration or
Yeah,
something. You got to
yeah.
pay yearly for it or something.
You don't gotta pay yearly for it. Just like getting it
Ugh.
started is not an intuitive process. And I just last year I installed Cubase. Like I bought it, installed it. The next day I came back, it's not on my computer anymore.
Ugh. See,
It's disappointing.
I just feel the reason why I liked GarageBand was it so intuitive, because I feel like if I'm inspired and then the recording process begins to get difficult, it will drain my inspiration to continue the song. Like it needs to kind of be seamless, for it to really work. Just at least for me personally.
Well, I think, I mean, not to mention, I am entrenched in the music community, but some music community, especially like DIY, like electronic stuff, like they definitely do not like the garage band at all, and it's a very, but it's very robust. Like it's a very robust piece of software, and without it, I probably when I released my first record. Like, and not to mention it's just native on every Mac. It's literally
Yeah.
like just having that be like something that just comes with owning a Macintosh computer. Definitely like eases the creative in you to to just get started because you already have the tools. You know what I mean? Uh,
Yeah, yeah. I have this whole recording. I can do multi-track layering. Like when I was in high school, like I was doing that with this like Tascam thing on a tape,
oh
and just the
God.
idea that I could just instantly just layer a second guitar line, hear a harmony and stuff. I wish I was able. I don't know where I'd be as a songwriter now if I was able to do that in high school, man. That'd be crazy.
God,
Uh,
4 track Tascam recorders. Oh man,
oh
that
yeah, oh
definitely
yeah,
definitely
right.
not
The
a
Tascam. getting that
man.
getting that buzz, trying to level your shit out on that thing.
Oh, God forbid you fuck up on a take.
That's where you learn to accept first takes for the
Yeah,
artistic
yeah.
for the art they are.
He used to say, "Well, it's a demo."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And honestly, I love doing that. It's just like, listen, if I don't really like the song, I'll just put the words demo in quotations and people can just it's like that means I'm gonna come back and redo it later.
Yeah, I'll buy a new tape and get it and try to get it on a Porter Studio or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, GarageBand. I hate when people talk shit about GarageBand. I hate when people like, oh, you need Reason or you need Ableton or, I think the first piece of music software I actually ever had was either SoundForge or Fruity Loops back when it was called Fruity Loops.
Oh
You know,
yeah, right. That's where
and
you
then,
can make all the drums and stuff, right?
oh yeah, I mean I use FL Studio. I use two
FL
software.
Studio. Okay.
Yeah, and I use the MPC stock software and I use FL Studio with yeah, I try to use as much stock stuff as I can. You know, I do have like sounds that I do import, but as far as like effects and stuff like that, like it's almost all stock. Mixing and mastering is almost all stock. I like to keep things
Yeah.
simple. That's just me. I'm not into like buying like a $400 plugin just so I can like use it once. Like
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like people hear music of so much differing quality these days. Like it's not as much gate kept anymore. So it's like you can love a record that was done in someone's bedroom just as much as someone that invested $500,000 into it, you know?
yeah, and honestly, like the quality gap is like as far as like the end consumer goes, the quality gap is probably very narrow to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, exactly. If I mean, because right, like Lil Nas X in Old Town Road, that wasn't done in a $50 million studio. I don't
oh
right.
yeah,
No,
no,
they had they had to deal with the MP3 that they had and turn that into a radio smash hit, you know, like, and I know formatting and stuff is all weird and different. So I don't know whatever they did, it was, they were able to take that. He didn't have to go back and completely redo the song, you know?
Yeah,
Or
man.
they.
And it probably wasn't redone until Billy Ray Cyrus hopped on it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, like because I actually know that I'm very familiar with that sample that Lil Nas X used because I actually have that album like downstairs someplace. It's a Nine Inch Nails record that he sampled for that.
Yeah, right. That's
Like,
what I heard that. Okay. And you knew, so you had known that record. And so when you heard that melody, you're like, is this from that Nine Inch Nails song or whatever?
well, the thing is, like, it's like pitched up kind of a little bit, and
Okay.
the perfect example of this I can think of is there's a George Benson. He was a jazz musician, and there's this record that he did. I forgot what it was called, but basically all over this record you'll hear like everybody looks at the golden age of hip hop with like reverence and stuff like that, but there's a lot of like boring ass jazz samples like everywhere. And George Benson's record was like one of those like foundational boring ass jazz records that people sampled. And DJ Jazzy Jeff took
Okay.
literally between two commonly sampled sections, there's like this little guitar lick that he sampled and made this whole like record called For the Love of the Game. Beautiful record, one of my favorite like rap records of all time. And like literally in between two very commonly used breaks. And Little Nas X did it in a way that you could not like it sounded familiar, but you could not figure it out like what it was until you went back for the record. And it's because it's not like it's like one section it's like two half sections of opposite bars, so it doesn't really so when you hear it in a context of Little Nas X does it, you're hearing like the end of bar one and the beginning of bar
Going
two.
into
Yeah,
weird.
yeah, so like it's not necessarily like he sampled like one repeating bar or two repeating bars. He offset it to like and just the way that was done. You know, I appreciate Old Town Road just for that. Not to mention like the record just slams in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, God, yeah. How do you translate that? And then you hear that take my down to the, oh, and have a country vibe. Yeah. It's like he made Cool Ranch Dorito flavored ice cream.
Yeah,
He made it work. And it made it taste good. You didn't think it could taste good, but he did it and it made it taste good.
yeah. But the closer, Snow Day. I don't know how familiar you are with Snow Days. I'm in Ohio, and I'm very familiar with Snow Days. Actually, I moved to Ohio when I was 13. So I remember in my childhood, there's been hurricane days, which I'm pretty sure very few people know about hurricane days, and snow days, and like hurricane days in Florida will be like the days where, oh yeah, this storm decided to go to North Carolina for, you know, at the very last minute, and it's like a sunny day in Florida, and you don't have school and shit. Like,
Yeah. Well, so I had finished all the songs, and like finished recording them, and then Snow Day kind of just came in like a week, and I was reminded of a time that my friend, I won't say who they are, but they essentially had like tried to kill themselves, and to try to like get them out of it, I just was like, let's leave where we're at and let's just drive somewhere. And if as long as we can drive and I can kind of keep you close to me and kind of keep you occupied, hopefully you'll kind of stay cognizant and kind of get through this, you know. And so that's not now the part that didn't happen was we weren't in the snow, and they didn't but I wanted to write about them like having that catharsis because I was thinking about the stillness and the freshness of a day where after it snowed, where it like dampens the sound and everything. It's just like real calm and still. So that I was hoping that like in this like sort of real, sort of fictional story, that and they're fine now, but like that they had an epiphany, at the end of it too, that things would be okay. And that actually is a song I'm still going to keep working on, because I it is something I feel is really powerful, and I really want to really have that translate more, that this is a song about caring about someone so much and doing anything that you can to have them around for just one more day, even if it's just distracting them, from their misery. And sorry, am I still here?
Yeah, you're here. I got you.
Sorry. Okay, I don't know what. Yeah, my phone I guess wasn't plugged in, but yeah. So yeah, that's what that song is about. It's just doing everything you can to have that person around with you one more day. Even despite how much they don't want to be around. A lot of pain.
Just now, I never realized how quiet it was after a snowfall, and it really is like one of those quietest times in Ohio. Like it really does dampen everything, like having all that snow around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's very still. If it's not windy, it's very, 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 very still. Especially when you get the big ass flakes. But
yeah, and I wanted to kind of like this. I know there's been a lot of hardship through this past year, but I wanted to kind of focus on that there's a bit of tranquility in that. And I thought with Snow Day kind of being at the end, that it would kind of like just kind of give you a little bit of just that breathing tranquility, and also kind of lead, like this would be like the transfer into the next record, where I want to try to be a little more, kind of steer more into the folky country side of things.
Well, like this EP, as I don't want to say brevity, but yeah, it definitely is like a shorter experience. But this is a fully satiating home cooked meal. Like this EP is.
Thank you.
It definitely doesn't. It definitely, you're full after this. Like you are not. You're like you just. Like this is like the best EP I've heard in quite a while. Probably since
Oh my God.
Like Holy Kerouac released their EP last year. So like, yeah.
Thank you so much. Oh my God. That wow. Thank you so much. I just, there are a lot of possibilities where this would not have gotten released at all. And I definitely I always want to thank Jeff, an Expert Timing, because he really encouraged me. Like, because I was just sending people demos, which is like, it's just stuff I'm working on to keep myself busy. I don't think anything's going to come of it. And Jeff was like, you should release an EP. You should do an EP. You should do this. You should commit to making it into a thing. You can, it can be something that people, comments like you're having right now, that means so much to me. That was not when I was writing it, that was not in my mind, that people would hear it, but now I'm really excited. I want to try, my darndest. Even if people don't, some people don't like it, that's cool too. I'm totally into trying to be heard, and putting in that work.
I think
yeah.
And very few people have actually reached out to me. Like I'm always reaching out to people to do the podcast, and like I think you're either the first or second person that's reached out to me to like, hey, like I want to talk about this record, and I'm like, okay.
Oh, I mean,
okay, let's do this. Let's do this thing. You got the record?
I love when people do what you do. Like I love reading interviews and listening to interviews where musicians talk about their music very in depth and very specifically. And I love that is your kind of take on it, is not necessarily just the like, let's do a biography of like your life. You know, this like we're talking about the songs and songwriting and stuff. And I just think that is so cool that you have a platform that to provide people to do that.
Well, the biography is in the music, at least in my and that's the way I think about it.
Sure.
Like your
Yeah.
story, your story that you want to tell is in the music. It's not, you know, the road to get there it may not be told, but you know, the story is in the music, and how to get there. I is something that I'm always curious about, because I remember when I was a kid, like I would like pick out the liner notes of the records and start reading the hell out.
Yeah.
You know, where's the recorder, who mastered this, what try to guess the artist's real name by seeing the name in parentheses, and
Right.
you
I loved when I would be like, oh, it's this guy, but then this other guy played, trombone. Like you would find that there were instruments on there that you didn't know were on there. And it's like,
yeah,
oh, now I want to go back and hear this piccolo being played, like, yeah, like, and I mean, I'm glad you said that. Liner notes, they make the music come alive. And like you said with the art, thank you so much for saying that. Like one day I hope I get to press it on vinyl and stuff, because the idea of, as you're listening to it, because that was me the same way. Like I would open up that CD case, that vinyl thing, and look at every picture they had in there. I would look at that, while listening to the music. And like a lot of my tattoos, like the flower tattoos, is flowers from a Watashi Wa album, because the music and the visuals all. I was like, and if I want to look like this album, like
yeah,
it's
and
great.
like vinyl records are art pieces. Like
Yes,
if the cover is dope, and like yeah, they are straight up art pieces. And
yes,
you know
absolutely.
and yeah, because I remember reading liner notes to like a Roots album, and Brother Question has like the funniest thank you sections of his record, where he'll
Uh,
basically straight up diss people without saying their names. It's like I'm pretty sure there's this one section in the phrenology, like where he talks about breaking you off, that song "Break You Off," and like they originally did not get Music to Soul Child. Originally, Music Soul Child wasn't supposed to be on the record, and basically they were talking about, like, he's talking about somebody who's like, oh well, you need me more than I need you, type of. And I'm guessing that it's R. Kelly, because that's somebody that will be in that periphery at that time.
okay.
Like, man, but the question is going in on R. Kelly without saying R. Kelly's name. You know,
Oh my God, right.
like, and just like I remember Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style. That was a completely hand drawn thing. Like
Right.
that was an art piece. And
Yeah.
oh man,
I,
and I miss
I
those
I
artists.
love I love that music can inspire people, and like different things like that. Like playing in bands in high school is how I met people who were into painting and photography and graphic design and set design. And it was like, yeah, I don't play music, but I love music. And my role is to, yeah, as I take beautiful photos that bring your whole thing to life. Like I think it's so great that it attracts people like that.
Well, and then when you have
I,
like minds like that, it's a beautiful thing.
oh,
It really is a beautiful thing. This
mm-hmm.
album cover is gorgeous, man. Like
Oh,
it is gorgeous, and it definitely encapsulates how I felt listening to this record. And like, this is a very healing record. It's a very good record. This record is like coming home in the wintertime to coming home for Thanksgiving. Like
thank you.
type of experience. And just
I want to shout out to Karina Kistler, who took those photos too. She's an amazing photographer, and has a great skill. Sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to make sure I
well,
got that in there. Karina Kistler photography.
if you did press this on vinyl, I'm definitely snagging a copy. And
Oh,
I very rarely buy vinyl. I mean, I have my record player right there, if you can see it. I think it has like a Carlos Santana record
oh.
in it right now. But yeah, like Yeah, I very rarely buy vinyl anymore. I used to buy it all the time. I very rarely buy it anymore. So it's definitely something that has to be special for me to grab it. But yeah, if you press like a 7 inch on this, 'cause I think this could definitely fit on the 7 inch double sided, 33 RPM type of record. Like this is beautiful. This is beautiful. And it's a job well done. And
Sorry.
thank you for inviting me
Oh, uh,
to listen to this.
oh yeah, thanks. So sorry, my phone was I guess was not plugged in or something. But thank you so much. I'm blown away by your response and I feel like I've made a new friend today. I hope we can keep in contact and I'd love to collaborate. Honestly in any kind of way. I'm really into. I'm gonna write songs till I breathe my last breath.
Yeah.
Like and I want to work with so many people and do so much and be so prolific. Like go. I feel like that's the biggest lesson I've got out of this is like I'm never gonna stop for 5 years again.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, because if you got this in you, man, you got some, you got a, there's a wonderful songwriter in you, like there really is.
oh, thank
So,
you so much.
but yeah, I feel the same way.
Thank you.
It's
Thank you.
been
Thank you.
great meeting you, and but I gotta get downstairs and tend to my house. So,
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much. I've had such an amazing time, um, and I'd love to, come back again. And if you've ever had me again, I'd love to talk. And my fiance, I know, I'm sorry if this doesn't have to go on the show, but she's from Ohio, so I'll hit you up when I am in
oh,
Ohio
oh yeah,
sometime.
definitely,
We can hang out. So
yeah, definitely. Lonely Ghost is
yeah,
headquartered in Ohio too, so yeah, like
yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
get to connect up there.
oh yeah,
And oh
definitely,
yeah,
man.
shout out to John too for kind of hooking this up. Really sweet person and kind of introduced me to your music and showed me your podcast, and then was like, if you message, you can get on there. So I didn't think it was possible. I'm so happy that I got to do it.
Oh,
Thank you so
it's a
much.
definitely a lot easier process than people think it is.
You're just like, what's up?
Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, right. Next week, let's do it. It's been great.
All right,
Well,
man. You have a good night.
I wish you the best. Okay, thank you so much.
All right, we'll be in touch.
All right, have a good night.
All right, you too.